Welcome to Empowered by AI, the podcast for women entrepreneurs ready to harness AI to take their businesses to the next level. I'm your host, Michelle Muncie Silva, founder of Innovative AI Studios. You may have left corporate life to start this entrepreneurial journey, but you don't have to go it alone. Here, you'll find a supportive community of like-minded women and an invaluable thought partner each week, as my guests and I share actionable insights you can use right away. So let's dive in together. Rene Clayton, I am so glad to have you today. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so happy to be with you and your audience. I'm very honored to be able to speak to you today on some really fun and exciting topics that we're going to dive into.
Yes, and I want you to be able to start off by sharing a little bit about yourself and where you're coming from today.
Absolutely. Rene Clayton. I actually reside in Florida, sunny Florida. I've been in IT and technology for 25 plus years. I'm currently an AI strategist and I'm a founder of my own business called ByteStrategy.ai. And I met Michelle through a really great organization called She Leads AI, and it's been wonderful. And so I teach people, usually the C-suite and solopreneurs, business owners, small businesses, about AI and how it can transform their business, because a lot of people just don't know where to start, and not everything needs AI. So we do that discovery. I've also gotten into building things because people have really needed that. I'm part of my local chamber of commerce, and I had been asked to just build agents and different solutions for companies. So myself and my team are now doing that as well. I also am a mother, a sister, grandmother, and I have two beautiful Pembroke Welsh corgis. I love coffee, kayaking, and anything outside.
I love it. I love it. And I have seen the corgis, people. They are adorable.
Thank you.
Now, you've been, as you mentioned, in IT for quite a while, and you've been working in AI long before this boom. So what kind of major shifts have you seen in AI strategy since this kicked off for the majority of us in 2022?
Sure, that's a great question. So yes, I've been in AI and automation since 2015. I was on a part of an innovation team at in a corporate position where we would look at new and upcoming emerging tech. And through our automation journey of robotic process automation, we started chatbots in banking, right? So you could talk to your money and say, hey, how much is my balance? And just talk to your money. And we did a lot of prototyping with that back in 16, 17, 18. And that was just my initial introduction into artificial intelligence, natural language processing, neural networks, what was the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just really got into that. It just became a passion of mine. So even when I wasn't at work, I was realizing I was reading all the books on Ada Lovelace and Turing and all the early programmers that had started with AI and all sorts of things, especially like Eliza was the first chatbot. And I want to say maybe, I don't know the year, it was around 1960 or so. So that was just really my first entry into that. And I was an AI strategist an innovation strategist for about 10 years before I went off on my own last year. And what I've seen is that, that we have had these things called AI winters. So I'll just briefly talk about this because I think it's really important because some people think this is hype and it's going to go away, and it's not this time. And I'll tell you why. So when it started maybe 70 years ago, there was like a hype cycle-ish, and then it died down. And the reason it died down is because we didn't have the compute power. We didn't have everything we have today at our fingertips. So in 2012, really a lot of innovation came out of the universities like Stanford, MIT, University of Michigan, really started spinning up all of these natural language processing apps and ways of working with AI. It did, and then there was tons of VC capital and market investment. died down slightly until ChatGPT came on the market. A lot of people have started embracing it and thinking it was the very first time we've ever had it. It's a very small slice. Generative AI is a small slice of deep learning and machine learning. So when that came out, I know I was using it on the daily and just spent thousands of hours in it. And because of our compute power now that we have, because of our robust smartphones and our really amazing laptops, we can now do things we could just never do before. We can be creative. We can build things that just wasn't possible in the past. So I've enjoyed my journey. I'm really happy I was able to get in early, but I want to make it clear that it doesn't matter how long I've been using AI or IT. Every day it changes. So even if you start today, that's okay. You're going to know as much as I do probably because it changes on the daily.
Yes, it is such a fluid experience, right? You're constantly being impacted by an update or a brand new idea that's come to life all of a sudden, right? No, I completely feel that. And you've really emphasized in your work that AI strategy is for impact driven leaders. And so I know a lot of people are looking at AI from a place of fear. And I'm wondering how an organization can integrate some of these abilities now, like automation and agentic AI, but stay true to their original values that were much more human based.
That's a really good question. So many companies that are using AI today started small. They started internally. So maybe in their contact center or their fraud detection center. So that's really where it started. It starts really small internally so you can test out the use cases. So what used to be FAQs can now, for let's say a contact center person or a frontline person in a small business that answers the calls for customer support, they can use AI to have their FAQs in a gated large language model that they use just for them within a that's one of the use cases. There's so many. And as far as being intimidated by AI, there are a lot of people and of all genders, races, and countries that are very intimidated. And that's why there's so much discussion around the safety and the guardrails. And I think we all do need to keep that in mind. But similar to the way you and I are talking, if I'm not going to share my passwords with you, right? Or my bank account information. When you're talking with any of these models, whether it's Gemini or whether it's Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT, just talk to it like you would a friend. And I think the more you use it, the more you'll see that you can keep those guardrails and that security in the system.
And if we want to talk about moving from exploring what's possible to execution, so we're going to apply this to a business, what are some of the biggest mindset shifts that you think entrepreneurs need to make to get to that point of action?
Mindset's huge. And actually, when I'm training a workshop or a class, or even just doing a talk to the chamber, the first thing I start with is mindset and sharing that it's just a system. It's numbers, it's ones and zeros. It doesn't really understand what you are talking about. It's just pattern recognition. And it's there to help you become more productive and use it in the way that you want to use it, right? So when we look at that execution and that strategy and that roadmap planning, we look at what the pain points are. Where are your bottlenecks? Where are your pain points? Where's your staff? Or even as a solopreneur, where are you getting stuck? So I'll give you an example for myself. I'm a note taker, huge note taker. I have more sticky notes than anyone, probably. I have probably 15 different notebooks. I also have digital notebooks. I have multiple calendars. And I was struggling. I was like, why organized person? Why am I making things so much harder for myself? So I went into ChatGPT and one of the reasoning models and asked it, this is what I'm doing. This is the pain point I have. And then what can I do about it? So you tell it some context, and a lot of people that are watching your show know how to use AI. But for me, it said, oh, first of all, you're okay. This is fine. You are what's called a hybrid note taker. And I was like, oh, that sounds about right. I'm a hybrid note taker. And this is what you're going to do. And it laid out a plan for me that this is what you're going to write on paper and when. This is what you're going to do at night. This is what you're going to do in the morning. This is what you're going to do on Sunday. And this is what you're going to do on Friday. And this is where you're going to keep these certain types of notes. So let's say it's client notes. It's going to be all digital. If it's just an idea that you have in the middle of the night or you're walking the dog or whatever, this is what you're going to do with those. Yes, you can use your sticky notes, but then you're going to put them into the digital platform. So it's really interesting of how people are using all of these systems.
That is absolutely fantastic. And I'm staring at all my sticky notes now. I'm surrounded by sticky notes, and now I need to talk to ChatGPT about my problem.
It's great. It's great. And I do have some really great tools and ideas for people that maybe are not doing consulting. They're not going in and helping businesses. They want to do something with AI. They maybe want to make money. They want to do something different. It's not necessarily on the business side. They want to learn how to make faceless videos, or they want to know what tools to use for what, even if they are in a small business or a solopreneur and they want to market themselves. I call it like five marketing.
Oh, that'd be fun because you've been talking about AI as a way to unleash creativity. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
Great. And then actually, Michelle, have you done anything with faceless videos or any kind of tools have you used?
Oh, this is where this is going to be a learning for me because I did play around with it a while back when it felt really clunky to me. But I've heard amazing things about how it's gotten better, how it's updated. So I'm interested. My pain point with that is I absolutely cannot stand the robotic voice. I hear it a mile away. So, for example, my husband was watching a YouTube video the other day and I'm listening to it and it's nails on a chalkboard to me because I'm like, that's not a person. And he goes, really? And I could hear it. Like, that's the AI. Somebody created that video. They maybe gave it a script, but I hear the AI and I don't know how old the video was. And I know it's gotten better. So I'm going to learn from you right now. I can make my experience with it a little bit better.
Great. This is a great segue then, because things have changed this year. 2025 has been an exponentially evolving year, especially with voice technology and video technology. I want to speak specifically to faceless videos. And why do I want to do that? And there's a lot of people even in our organization that we're involved with, but also out there in the world that are teaching this. But I'm going to give you a kind of a different spin. And going back to what you originally said with the voices, that has changed. So for instance, I use a application called ElevenLabs. And ElevenLabs will clone your voice, and then you can use an application protocol integration API call into other apps to use your voice specifically. For instance, with another app called HeyGen, where you can do a digital twin of yourself, and then you can take your person and your voice and create all kinds of videos as much as you want. And the technology gets better every day. And it sounds very real as well. And for instance, on ElevenLabs, I've allowed them to use my voice, and I don't know, I get paid sometimes from them when they use my voice. So I want to speak to people that want to do vibe marketing. They want to have a side hustle, or they want to do this for fun, or they're not comfortable on camera. They are shy, or they can't be for some reason, but they still want to make money and they still want to do something really fun with AI. So I'm going to list some apps, and then I'll go into some of them, where then we're going to go and talk about the strategy, like how they can create their strategy around using these platforms. and then some other really great tools they can use to just put it all together. How does that sound?
Ooh, I love it. Let's dive in.
Okay. So the first one is CapCut. CapCut actually has updated their system, and people think of CapCut as just as a cutting software that cuts videos. But now, from start to finish, you can use either their, and you can start with the free plan. You can use their stock images that will go, it will change it to video. It will cut and splice the whole thing for you after you give it an idea. It has like a LLM built in, so you don't even have to go outside the platform. So you can say, let's say you want to talk about container gardening as an example. So you can just go into CapCut. You can do research on container gardening. Maybe, what you want to grow vegetables for your family, and it'll do the research for you. It'll put it into a script by itself for you. It'll pick based on the script. It'll go out and find its stock pictures and videos of that, and then it'll put it all together. And then within 20 minutes, you have a beautiful video that has nothing to do with you, and you can post that on YouTube or TikTok, or you can cut it into shorts. You could put it on Instagram, your landing page. It's a brilliant, one of my favorite applications to use. And if you don't like a picture it shows, or you want to use one of your own, you can just plug and play and just cut and paste it. You can change.
That is
script.
fantastic.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That's if you're going to do that, and that'll be part of the strategy too. Let me just go ahead and wrap in the strategy. First, you might not want to have a voice. You might not be wanting to talk about yourself. I'm just thinking of someone that maybe they're disabled, or they just are really introverted and they're shy and they have nothing. They don't want to do anything about them. They want to do something that has a niche. So part of your strategy planning for your marketing and your channel, but maybe you potentially want to make money on, is you find a niche that you're really interested in. So like I said, container gardening, or maybe you want to help women who've been in bad relationships, or something that you know and you care about, but you can create a whole channel, a whole YouTube, a whole channel on that. You can create a whole TikTok channel on it, and you can create, or Instagram, any of those platforms. And I would say pick a niche, make out a strategy first, like lay out your plan of what you think you would want to do on paper before you even do it. Make it consistent, and first stick with one platform until you master it, and then move on to a different platform. Then you can reuse your content. But anyway, CapCut is a great application to start to finish, and you don't have to leave the platform. It's very easy to use. It's super user-friendly. You can do it on your phone. And if you are a person that wants to use your own, videos, that's how I use CapCut personally. So you can just do B-roll, A-roll, whatever you want there. Okay, so talking about tools, then there's Canva. Canva has exponentially upgraded their systems so that they have AI tools, and you can create all sorts of videos and inspiration videos and talk tracks and music within Canva. One of my favorites recently is called ReelFarms. So it's REEL.farms. And that's for TikTok only. And so you would pick a genre or a niche of some sort. And then it is not cheap, but it's really powerful. And you can batch hundreds of videos with AI generated videos, and then you just tell it basically like what you want it to say. And then for TikTok, a lot of people, I don't know if you use it, but a lot of people, like my daughter, she doesn't even listen. She just reads. That's what it has, captions, and it's a very captioned type application. Like it lays over the captions. It creates the AI video for you, like a girl sitting in the car drinking coffee, talking about, how to train your puppy. And then you would have just this whole series on that. And so ReelFarms is a really phenomenal platform, and it creates extremely, and then you'd have maybe music behind it, or you would do voiceover with that. You would do voiceover, and it works really well with the TikTok platform.
Mhm.
So and then if you were creating your scripts, let's say you're not a great script writer, there's two things I would use. I would either use ChatGPT O3 model, the reasoning model. It can help you do deep research on a topic that you're interested in or that you think that other people are interested in. And you can create scripts only, then you can plug them into the other platforms. So that's O3 within ChatGPT deep research. So that's a really good tip. So now let's go into HeyGen. So I'm working with a lot of clients now that want their digital twin. They're in different fields and they have a lot of customer touch points. And they don't want to send just boring emails. They want to send their avatars, their digital twin of themselves with their scripts that they've created and then their voice. So it's them and then their voice. So HeyGen, the way it works is you can have really high quality pictures. You can have a hyper realistic video of yourself, and then you can change the clothes. And now this isn't Faceless, by the way. So I know we were talking about Faceless, but this is if you want to create things but not be filmed every day and put makeup on. And as women, we like to get dressed and make sure our hair is brushed and whatnot. But you can do this all in an afternoon and batch weeks of content for either your channel, like your YouTube channel that's educational. You don't even have to use yourself. With HeyGen, you can use their avatars. You can use their avatar voices. But a lot of their avatar voices are, like I said earlier with me, I allowed them to use my voice. So there's a lot of humans that have allowed their voices to be used. And then it sounds really natural because it is natural, right? It's so fantastic. And then let's say you have a Spanish audience or you have someone that's I don't know, speaks Indonesian. You can, with HeyGen specifically, you can create the same video in 70 different languages and then put it out there. So I know that you have a global audience that watch your channel, and so do we, and She Leads AI and other organizations that we're in. And so it's really nice to have that opportunity. So one of my clients, predominantly their clients are Spanish, and they want to send them a happy birthday text, but they want it to be them. They also have some training videos and about their industry, and they don't actually use their avatars for that. They use the HeyGen avatars. So I'll just pause for a minute to see if you have any questions on what I've said so far.
Okay. Okay. And it's my understanding that a tool like Potato, for example, has a lot of relationship with these tools. So it's all in one place. Have you found that to be true?
Yes, I did forget to mention one of my favorite platforms, especially for faceless content, is Potato. Yes, by Sabrina Romanoff. That's a fantastic platform, and especially for faceless videos and content that you can post across all different sorts of places. So you can post the same thing on LinkedIn and Twitter or X now and Instagram, Pinterest, all at the same time. And you can create using your ideas, create the scripts from her prompts, create the video or the still images and the music and everything. So Potato is a fantastic application as well. And you could even use some of these together.
And what use cases do you have for HeyGen specifically?
So that's probably the one I'm using the most outside of ReelFarms. And HeyGen is for my clients specifically is they want to do two different things. I have different clients doing different things, and I'm under NDA, so can only just talk at a high level, but I'll just switch the industries up a little bit. So some industries have stage gates where at this point, this happens, like something got approved, right? You get something got approved. And they want to, instead of sending out, hey, you got approved, congratulations, they want to send out themselves saying, hey, congratulations, good job, you got approved to make it more personal. And so that's a really good use case for HeyGen. One of the other bigger use cases is having, especially for small companies or, well, any size company truly, is using it for video training for their onboarding their clients or onboarding videos for their company. So you have policies and procedures and security, cybersecurity, how to use your laptop, how to use their software. You can use all of their avatars they have over maybe 600 or 700 you can use, and you can even generate your own new AI avatars that no one's ever seen before. And you can use their voices or your own voice.
I
And that's
love
where
it.
I pull in my voice from ElevenLabs. So that because I think it's a lot more clear and crisp because you actually use about 3 to 5 hours of training voice that audio to train the model, and so it learns your voice. And then there's settings that you can make it more excited or less excited. And another really cool thing about, or maybe it's a serious video because you're talking about gender equality in the workplace and making sure you're staying very empathetic towards your colleagues, and you need it to be serious. It can have a serious voice. One of the fun things when I'm working with HeyGen is that, let's say you've even already created the video, it's ready to go, and you or your customer or your boss said, "Oh, I don't like this one phrase," or you said it too boring or was too excited. You can do what's called voice mirroring. So even though it's not let's say it's my client's voice or the avatar's voice that I've chosen out of all the lists. They have hundreds and hundreds of voices to choose from in all different accents. Like, for instance, you could even do Spanish Argentinian or just English, but with an Irish accent. So there's so many things you can do. But with the mirroring, I can go in to that specific script, and I can record myself with the inflection or the non-inflection, whatever I want it to sound like, and just in that section, but it'll use the voice of what's already generated in a script.
Oh, that's detailed and specific. That's fantastic.
Yes, they have come out with some brilliant functionality that makes, think about it, if even us recording this, right? Let's say you didn't like something and you don't want to necessarily record the whole thing. I'm just using this as an example. It's really cool that you can go in and just change that piece of the script.
Yeah. You're actually reminding me of there was a gentleman, this is way back in the day, and he was talking about personalizing your email marketing. And he was demonstrating a way to basically turn yourself into a GIF. You do all these different poses and do this and question mark and all these different situations you could freeze frame yourself in or do a quick action. And you're basically memeing yourself, right? Turning yourself
Right.
into a GIF and adding it to your email marketing to give your customers a sense of you, your personality, and it was really unique to me at the time,
Mhm.
but the time involved in doing all of that and the unnaturalness of I've always balked at that because I'm more of a in the moment, let's talk kind of person. And so it sounds to me like what you're talking about is this whole other evolution of doing that, where you might be speaking in the moment, having it recorded, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but then you use that natural moment, that natural voice to then create avatars that represent you in each of these possible moments as a way that you can personalize your message.
Absolutely. That's exactly right. And then again, for people that don't want to record themselves, there's lots of avatars they can use. And then they could just use that avatar. And the avatars can be sitting on a couch one day and then in their backyard a different day. You can change the backgrounds. You can change the clothes. You can change everything. It's amazing. And some of these other platforms as well. It's really amazing what you can do with this new technology. And then he would take it to the next level if you want to create really strong videos. And I know you've heard this recently with Google VO3 and Google Gemini Flow. That you, even on a less expensive or maybe even free plan, I think you get up to 3 a day that you can create with a script. And then you can use that in your marketing. And it's brilliant, and it's has sound, and it's really wonderful. It's Flow has a really cinematic way of working, and you can again, intertwine that with some of these other tools and produce cinematic film-like quality to your marketing and what you're trying to put out there for whether it's your personal brand, whether it's your business, your small business, your solopreneur, or even a large enterprise. And then Runway is also really good. That's an older application, not older, but it's more established. And that's also a great application that a lot of my clients are using, or actually strategic partners are using to create true videos for, let's say, dental offices or skincare med spas, that sort of thing.
The possibilities sound pretty darn endless.
Yeah, exactly. We have entered into a new age, and I was listening to one of your other podcasts. You were speaking with someone, and what I'm doing today for my business, I could not have even done this a year ago or 2 years ago. So it takes people like you and I who are really have a business savvy, or we have different skills. And for me, my sister always says that you can't draw, you're not creative. I love my sister, but she's hilarious. But I feel so creative now with these tools. So I think that's what these tools can do too. But you can create a whole world for yourself. If you have a passion about saving the world from plastics, create a whole niche for that. Create a YouTube channel. Go out there and then just batch all this content. Use these tools. They're not that expensive, even if you have the paid versions, and just create a full new income stream for yourself. And that's really what I wanted to focus in on today, is for those people who are maybe introverted, don't want to be going out to get businesses and doing AI, or they don't know how to build things. They can learn these applications from the comfort of their home and their own computer, and they can make money and they can have fun with it. And so these Faceless channels, being able to use the different tools, I think is a game changer for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And if you were going to throw down the gauntlet, you're going to challenge the listener to get started, what would you challenge them to do? What is some small step they can take to dive in, maybe even this week that they're listening to it?
Great question. I love it. First of all, find what are you passionate about? What is it? Is it flowers and different kinds of trees? Is it sharks? Is it teaching children? Whatever you are super passionate about, hone in on that and just stick with it. A strategy on if you were trying to explain this to your grandmother, how would you explain it? And just write it down and type it out. And that's going to be the basis of your strategy. And I would say for the easiest route, the easiest without a big barrier, is go into CapCut for free and start there and play around with it, see what you can do, because you can do everything within that one platform first. And then you can explore Potato. Of course, that's an excellent platform as well. There's weekly calls if you sign up for the platform. But I would say the one thing is find what you're passionate about. Go into CapCut and just start using it today.
We are going to leave that for the listeners and say, dive in. I love it. I absolutely love it. Rene, thank you so much for sharing these resources with us, because now I want to go play.
Exactly, right? You're going to have a lot of fun, for sure.
So if people start playing and they want to reach out to you, where do they go to talk to you?
Sure. So great question. I'm on LinkedIn, Rene Clayton, Rene Clayton. I'm on LinkedIn. My website is ByteStrategy.ai. Those are probably the two easiest ways to get a hold of me. Let me know where you've found me, because I do get a lot of hundreds of messages a day, but I want to make sure to ensure to put your listeners to the top of the box, and they can reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to have a conversation.
That's absolutely fantastic. We are so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate it. And thank you to your listeners.
Thank you for tuning in to Empowered by AI. If today's episode sparked ideas, don't wait. Follow the link in the show notes to visit innovativeaistudio.com and download your free resource, created to help you put today's insights into practice. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes packed with more tips, tools, and inspiring stories. Until next time, stay empowered and keep innovating.